Hey, what's up, fellas? How you doing? Man, Antonelli here.
Hey, what's going on, guys? How we doing? Matt Antonelli here, and today we're answering your questions. Today's question comes from Instagram, and the question is from Trey Grabut. Maybe. Did you ever think you would never make it back to the big leagues? How did you overcome that feeling? Thank you very much, Trey, for your question. Okay, so let's break it down. A couple different questions there. Did I ever think that I would never make it to the big leagues? No. Depends. Depends on what age I was. You know, my goal always, when I was in high school and in college, my goal was to play in the big leagues. Did I think I was going to play there? I don't know. When I was in high school, probably not. When I was in high school, I've told this story. I went and watched a college game. I got a letter from, this is back when you got letters. I guess you still can get kind of letters, but usually they don't really mean anything. But back then, you actually got letters, and they meant something. They were like handwritten from the coach. And I got a letter from University of Virginia that said, you know, we really like you as a player. We'd like you to come down and visit campus, blah, 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 all this stuff. And so I went and watched University of Virginia play against Florida State. And I said, I can't play at this level. These guys are unbelievable. I told my dad afterwards, I said, I don't care. If UVA tells me they want me to play baseball, I'm coming and I'm playing. Because and I'll probably never get on the field. I said, but I need to come and play. Like, this is unbelievable. Like, these players are so good. I just want to be around them. And so I didn't even think I could play college baseball. I mean, I knew I could play, but I didn't think I would ever actually get on the field and play. So I can't say at that point that I was like, yeah, I'm going to play in the major leagues. You know, when I got to college, I was having some success and was told I was going to get drafted high. And so then I'm starting to think about, you know, playing in the major leagues. When I was in the minor leagues, especially in high A and then double A, I was like, major leagues? I'm going to Hall of Fame. Like, I was like, yeah, I'm going to play in the major leagues. Like, I want to play right now. Put me up right now against somebody and I will hit 300. Like, that's what I thought during those years in 2007. I thought there's no doubt I'm playing in the big leagues. I'm going to play for a long time. I told you guys, when I got my first hit, my first at bat, I got a hit. I rounded first base. I said, put the ball in the Hall of Fame. I'm getting 3,000 of these. This is simple. Like, why do people make this sound so hard? It's not that hard. And then I went 0 for 23, my next 23 at-bats. So I thought I was getting the big leagues. I can't tell you what it was like to not think I was getting the big leagues when I was at least older, because I thought I was going there. Now, second part of that question was, did you ever think that you would never make it back to the big leagues? Now, this is a little bit more interesting because after 2008, you know, it was the worst year of my life. And then I didn't get a ton of playing time in the big leagues. And, you know, I hit 200, didn't get a ton of at-bats, maybe like 50-something at-bats. I had an 0 for 23 stretch. So, when I got sent back down to AAA that next year, I was in big league camp and then I got sent to AAA. And then in 2010, I had a great spring training. It was my first spring training where I felt like, you know, I had been injured the previous few years, and I felt pretty good with my health. And I led the team in spring training and batting average. And I started some games for the big league team. And we played a night game against the Dodgers where it was basically the Dodgers pretty much their starting lineup against our starting lineup with a few adjustments, me being one of them. I was playing second base. Vicente Padilla was on the mound for the Dodgers, and I took him deep my first at-bat over Manny Ramirez's head, and I was like, I'm going back to the big leagues. Like, I'm going back. I feel unbelievable right now. I said again, put me up against anybody, and I'll get a hit. I don't care who you put me up against. And I ended up breaking my hand. I missed that entire season. Didn't play a baseball game. And at the end of that season, I was non-tendered, which means basically they took me off the 40-man. And I went to Washington. And so at this point, it's been a while since I've been in big leagues. When 2011 season starts up, I've come off a year-long surgery. I haven't played baseball in a year. I had a wrist surgery. I'd had other injuries. I hadn't been in the big leagues for, 3 years at that point. And but I'll be honest, I thought I was going back. And I thought about it all the time. I always thought about when I was working out or training or, hell, driving to the gym. I would think about what it was going to feel like the next time I made not my major league debut, because I already made it. You can't make a debut twice. But I thought about the second time I was going to make it back up after a few years gone. Hell, I used to think about my walk-up music. And I said, when I get back to the big leagues, what walk-up music am I going to have? Right? I remember I used to hear Welcome Back by Mace, and I'd be like, freaking A, that's what I'm talking about. I'm going to play this when I get back to the big leagues. And there were some other songs that I liked. Actually, back in the day, I was I don't know if he's still considered Young Jeezy. Maybe he's just Jeezy now. But there was a Young Jeezy song back in the day called Welcome Back that I liked too. So I was on the Welcome Back because I was like, I'm going to get back to the big leagues. There's no doubt about it. In 2011, I had a really good year, made the All-Star team. I was the only position player to make the All-Star team for the Nationals. I hit over 300, and I got injured a little bit. I hurt my hamstring, but I thought I was going back, and I didn't go back. I didn't get called up, and they actually got rid of me. And then I went to the Orioles, signed on the 40-man roster there, and never got called up. And then I went to the Yankees, never got called up. Then I went to the Indians, never got called up. Then I got released, and I was done. But I will honestly say, for most of those years, I thought I was going to go back to the big leagues until probably 2012. 2012 was the first time that I felt like all of my injuries, I felt like my wrist, I felt like my surgeries, I felt like all this stuff was getting to the point where I just couldn't. I just felt like I wasn't the same player, and I didn't feel like I was going to be the same player again. 2012, when I signed that 40, this was kind of an unfair deal. I signed with the Orioles, and not that I should have been like, guys, this is a bad signing, but that offseason, I did nothing. Like, I couldn't do anything. I had my second wrist surgery, or was it my third wrist surgery? I don't know. A lot of wrist surgeries, and I was in a cast for the winter. I couldn't do anything. I didn't hit. I wasn't allowed to hit. I couldn't really lift weights. I couldn't do anything. I remember I went to Baltimore. They had the team down it was probably like January, about a month before spring training. And I still hadn't done anything. I remember going into the batting cage, and BJ Surhoff was there. He was working with hitters, and he wanted me to hit. And I was like, I can't do this. He's like, why can't you do it? I'm like, I had wrist surgery. I'm not cleared back. He's like, season starts in a month. And I was like, I know. My doctor told me don't swing. And he was looking at me like, what the hell are you talking about? So I went into that spring training basically with no practice. And I felt lost. I'll say this. I remember I got up my first day in batting practice. I was launching balls out of the park. I remember I called my dad afterwards. And I was like, I just crushed the ball. I mean, I was smoking balls all over the place. But then the second practice, for some reason, I didn't. And the third, I didn't. And then I just didn't feel great. I got up in the first game, played against the Rays. I started second base, and I actually got hit to my first two at-bats. But again, it went downhill quick. I never really felt comfortable. And then that season was a disaster. I just wasn't ready to go. And then I got sent over to the Yankees, and then my wrist started hurting me again. I played 16 games, and I played okay. But my wrist hurt to the point where I had to go in. I told them, I remember I went in, and I said, I can't hold my bat. Like, I don't think I can do this. I can't swing. And they said, you need to let us know right now. If you can't swing, we're going to put you on the DL. Like, we're not going to give you a day off. Because I asked if I could have a day off. And they're like, we're not going to give you a day off. At this point, I think teams were probably like, this freaking guy, like, he keeps getting hurt. And hell, the Padres thought I was making it up at one point. But it's hard when I'm in the cage and I'm swinging. I take a swing and I'm like, ah! Like, that's what it felt like. It wasn't like I was swinging and I was like, a little sore there. I'm swinging, like, you ever seen Family Guy and Peter Fall? And he does it for like 10 minutes straight. Like, that's what I felt like every time I took a swing. And so I was like, I can't play like this. I can't even practice. So they said, you need to tell us right now. Can you go or can't you go? And I was like, I can't go. I can't go today. Maybe tomorrow. So they put me on the DL. This is the point where I started to realize that I wasn't going to get back to the big leagues again. And luckily, next year, they gave me a chance with the Indians. I rested my wrist all that offseason. Didn't hit a whole lot, just rested it. I came back and I felt pretty good. And with the Indians, I hit really well in spring training. Actually, I feel like I hit like 400. I wasn't in big league camp, though. I was in AAA. I was at AAA. I played in some big league games. I went like 1 for 3 in big league games. My first at bat in the big leagues, I hit a hard single. I remember I went first to third. And I remember Terry Francona, told me great base running. And I was like, thanks, Tito. I don't know you, but everyone seems to call you Tito, so I'm going to call you Tito too. And but I got called in the office at the end of that spring training, and I got called in, and I was like, I'm going back to the big leagues? I'm like, I was just in AAA spring training. There's no way I'm going back to the big leagues. What do they want to talk to me about? And they were like, good spring training, but we're going to put you on the 40. Not the 40-man. We're going to put you on the Phantom DL, which basically means we don't want you on the team. We kind of do. We don't want to release you, but we don't want to put you on. We don't want to take a roster spot on AAA away from someone else to put you on it. So you can stay with us and pretend you're hurt, or you can get the hell out of here. And I was like, well, I don't want to go home. I'll stay. I'll pretend I'm hurt. Ow, my hamstring. And so I pretended I was hurt, and I got like 3 at-bats or something, and then I was released, and that was it. Nobody wanted to pick me up. I could have went to independent ball, but I didn't. And that was the point when I was like, I'm never going back. I felt that the year before, like I said. Now, when I felt like I was never going back, how do you get over it? I don't freaking know, man. Like, I kept working hard. I worked as hard as I could, but I just knew, like, man, I'm not the same player. And it's hard. It's hard. I said I worked as hard as I could. A lot of stuff I couldn't do. Couldn't hit when I was in a cast. Couldn't hit when the doctor tells you not to hit. And when you're trying to play at the highest level and everyone else or a lot of other guys are practicing and they're working and they're making those small little improvements every single day and you're not, you're either getting better or you're getting worse. You're never staying the same. And I wasn't getting better, so I was getting worse. And it's a bit, the players are too good to not be able to work hard or work as hard as you need to. And so when I got to that point, I was sad. But I told my wife, and so I tell people this all the time, and I don't know what this means, but I told my wife, I said, I can't just play professional baseball just to play. Like, I need to play in the major leagues. If I don't feel like I can play in the major leagues, I can't just play baseball. I don't know why that is, but I needed to play at the highest level. That's why, like, since I stopped playing, everybody asked me to go play for their pickup softball leagues and their semi-pro baseball leagues or whatever the hell you want to call it. And I'm always just like, no. And people, I think I'm not. Like, why don't you want to play? I still have this mentality. If I can't play in the big leagues, then I'm not playing. That might sound really strange. I don't know why that is. If I'm going to play, I have to be able to work hard. I'll put it this way. If I'm going to play pickup baseball, I'm going to be in the gym every day. I'm going to be eating right. I have to do all that stuff. And if I can't do it all, I'm not playing. I might just be weird, but that's the way I think about it. So I don't know if that really answered your question at all. No, didn't really answer your question. How did I overcome the feeling? I didn't. I just worked. I tried to get there until I couldn't. And when I realized I couldn't, well, I didn't. They let me go. They released me. So I could have went and played independent ball, but I knew I wasn't going to be able to work as hard there because I was still injured all the time. And so I began coaching and doing this, making YouTube videos. So hopefully that helps you out. That's all we got. Thanks so much for writing in. If you have another question, put in the comment section below. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell. Give it a thumbs up. All that good stuff. We'll talk to you later.